My name is Desni Ayala, and I'll be giving a demonstrative speech today about making bread. This is my live audience. We welcome Sheila and Eric from Arizona, Frida and Jordan from Alaska, and Darby, also from Arizona. Let's get started. Today, we'll be making bread. Bread is a great side dish for every single meal. You could buy packaged bread at a huge markup, or you can make your own. Not only is it simple, it's cathartic. Packaged bread is neither economical nor environmentally friendly, so today we'll be making this bread completely without waste. Making bread is easy, enjoyable, and cost efficient. Any level of baker can make bread. I bake bread almost every week and would do it far more often if I could justify the amount of uneaten bread that would be in my household. Let's start with benefits of making your own bread. It's cost efficient. This loaf will cost about $1 to make compared to $3 to $5 for an artisanal loaf from Fred Meyer or Walmart. Oh boy, there's also a lot of waste involved in packaged bread. According to the EPA, packaging containers for food made up 77.9 million tons of waste every year. Also important are the mental health benefits. Making something by hand releases endorphins, and according to GoodNet, it can also be a form of meditation. Let's start making it. The first thing we're going to do is proof the yeast, or make sure that it's alive. To do this, we're going to add all the liquid in the recipe to all the yeast in the recipe. Once it gets frothy, which I'm not sure you can see, but it's frothy, you're going to add a little bit of sugar or honey to feed the yeast. The science behind this is that packaged yeast is dormant. Adding hot liquid as well as sugar or honey activates and feeds the yeast. You will be able to tell if it is active by the scent. You can use instant yeast if you're short on time, but I had a lot of time today, so we used active dry yeast. All right. After you add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, put it in your KitchenAid mixer and let it go on high for about 5 minutes. The next important step is kneading and resting the dough. When you knead, you're tearing apart the gluten structures that the bread has made. This allows more gluten structures to be made and creates air holes in the bread. We don't want a dense, nasty loaf of bread, so we're gonna knead it just for a little bit since the KitchenAid did most of the work. All right. Again, the better you knead your bread, the better it'll be. After resting at room temperature for about an hour, your loaf should double in size. This loaf has been rested for about 2 hours, so it's definitely double in size. After you take it out of your Tupperware, thus reducing plastic waste, you're going to knead it for just a few seconds to flatten out any air holes that have formed so that we can create a seam. To do this, simply flatten it out into a rectangle shape. Oh boy, it's sticking, okay. And start folding over the sides like so to create a little seam. And then just fold it over on itself until you have a little loaf. Now we're just doing this one into a circle, so just continually move it with your hands until you got the circle you want. After that's done, it needs to rest yet again to rebuild the air holes that we've destroyed by flattening it. Put it on a pan and let it rest for 40 minutes. Afterwards, it should double in size yet again. To reduce the likelihood that this bread will burst in the oven from steam, we're going to slash it a little bit with this designated bread box cutter. It's very clean, but very sharp. You're going to want to cut it a little bit more than you think, pretty deep, fairly deep. Just a couple lines to make sure that the steam has a place to escape that is not out the seam of your bread on the bottom. All right. Now, after you have cut the seam, or cut the steam escapes, You're gonna put this in the oven at 450 for 35 minutes. Ideally, the temperature you want is 190 degrees, but I realize that not everyone has a thermometer. Alternatively, you can take the very hot bread out of the oven and knock on the bottom. If it sounds hollow, it's done. If it doesn't, put it back in the oven for about 5 more minutes and then try again. This is what your finished loaf should look like. It's full of air holes and very delicious. It also has a nice crust. If you're ever finding yourself in need of a cheap hobby or need to release some emotions, I highly recommend making bread. Not only does it release endorphins, it's also a rewarding feeling seeing something you've made enjoyed by others. Again, any maker can bake bread, and it's fun. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.